Hey, sister girl.
Hi there, y'all. Good seeing everybody. Welcome to another episode of Hey Sister Girl. My big question for you tonight is: are you ready to thrive in 2025? That's a big question tonight. We're celebrating this month. January is World Carnivore Month. So, as you know, G and I and Robyn, we all are carnivore. And tonight we have an awesome guest that is joining us that's also a carnivore. And so we're going to offer you tonight to become a carnivore. Okay, Akko, I know you're missing someone. You're missing G. G's
Yes.
not with us tonight. She on a cruise with bad internet. So she sends her well wishes, her carnivore love, and we're going to take it away tonight with just really diving deep in carnivore. Like, I'm curious, does anyone even know that there is a month called carnivore, and perhaps why we might even have that month? The other thing I want to get us quick and started with is, where are you listening from? Like this video, share it. What each of us have found is that carnivore has been life changing for us, has been healing for us, brain clarity for us, and also brought us all together. Like, we literally have all met as a result of being carnivore. And so you may ask, well, why carnivore? Why carnivore? Well, we believe that carnivore is the natural way that our ancestors ate, the way that they thrived. If we just take a step back in history, then we know that the diseases, the chronic illnesses that we're seeing right now did not exist. They did not exist in the form that they are now. And so we're here literally figuring out how carnivore is working for us and how we get others letting carnivore work for them. And so, big question for you again, another big question for you is, what do you know about carnivore so far? Put it in the chat for me. Tell me what in the comments. What do you already know about carnivore? So as we dive deep and we start to ask questions, then we can make sure that we drive our answers and our responses to your questions. So literally, we've are in a society where meat has been demonized, where we've been taught to eat less meat. We've been taught to fear fat and load up on what we've been told are heart healthy whole grains. But, sister girls, what has that gotten us? Well, for me, it got me prediabetes. It got me an autoimmune issue. It got me eczema. It got me arthritis, just excruciating pain, no brain clarity, chronic inflammation. And so the reason why we have World Carnivore is so that we can have an opportunity to get people excited about at least trying this. If you are a person who suffers with chronic illnesses, you have inflammation, you've not been successful with using any of the remedies that have been given to you, any of the prescriptions that have been given to you, we are saying today, tonight, this January, try carnivore. And what is carnivore? Carnivore means that you eat meat based. That means that you are eating from an animal. Yes, I said it. You're eating from an animal. Actually, we've been taught to eat nose to tail. So often when I'm working with people, their question to me is, I can eat my pig feet. Yes, you can have your pig feet. I can eat my hog maw. Yes, you can have your hog maw. So we're just offering this up tonight. We're going to get a great chance to listen to Coach Rose share her story. I'll dab a little of my story in there. G is going to put, not G, Robyn is going to put a little of her story in there. And we're just going to really go deep on why carnivore and how carnivore is working. So if you know someone who is suffering with a debilitating disease, the inflammation is unbearable. I was diagnosed personally with lupus, autoimmune issue, by two rheumatologists. I was told that lupus would never go away from me. I had an anti-nuclear antibody test that I was told would never be negative. Once it is positive, it will always be positive. That test is now negative for me. And so I know a lot of times we have this mindset, and I see in a lot of areas that we are diving into this plant-based, veganary, try vegetables, and somehow we have made vegetables and fruits be benign, that they are a automatic go-to. And it just hasn't been the case for us and many others. I mean, you can check the resource. I often tell people, like, we Google a lot of things. Google X vegans, Google X vegetarians. Many of them have returned to a meat-based way of eating, and they have found healing. And so tonight, as we dive in, get your questions ready, share, go to any of our live streams and share. And so I want to turn it over to Robyn just for a moment and let her take us away for a minute.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Hey Sister Girl. We are so glad that you are here with us. So I kind of wanted to just talk about what is it about the carnivore diet, and why would you want to try it? You know, why give this a 30-day, or in the case of January, 31-day try? And so there are so many reasons, as DeNitra just mentioned. We talk about autoimmune conditions, which are really, really, really helped with a carnivore diet. So the carnivore diet reduces inflammation. So the first thing that we're going to do when we go on a carnivore diet is we're going to eliminate carbohydrates and processed foods. So we're going to be eating whole, natural foods, and that helps alleviate joint pain and chronic inflammation. One of the things that a lot of people talk about is improvement in energy levels. Like, the energy is through the roof. You don't even know what to do with all the energy. You need less sleep, those kinds of things. And then mental clarity. And so that there's a brain fog that's there that you may not even realize is over your head, but you have brain fog. And when that brain fog lifts, you're like, what? I was walking around in a fog this whole time. But that mental clarity is a huge factor. So eating a carnivore way of eating is also super simple. I mean, you can literally be eating within 5-10 minutes. You can take a steak out your freezer and put it in the air fryer and be eating in 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how you like your steak. I mean, and it's just super, super simple. You don't have to worry about, well, what sides are we going to have tonight? There's no green beans and there still ain't no corn. So no green beans, no corn. And then, of course, people are looking for weight loss. It does contribute to weight loss. I will not say that it's a weight loss protocol necessarily. It is a healing protocol. So we need to think of that first whenever we think about a carnivore way of eating. We're talking about, reducing inflammation. And so, along with that will come some weight loss. Digestive health. People are having amazing results with digestive health, such as IBS, and different diseases of the digestive tract. It resolves bloating. You'll hear people say that carnivores don't have gas. And they don't generally have constipation or diarrhea unless they eat way too much fat. So, you know, digestive health is helped. Regulation of hormones is another big factor. So the carnivore diet does support balanced hormones. You'll hear people saying, like, I had PCOS, I did not have periods. When I went on carnivore, my periods came back. And so those things are super important. Autoimmune conditions. We just heard DeNitra say that she had lupus, and her physicians told her, once you have this, you'll never not have it. Kind of like diabetes, where they told people, once you have this, it's chronic. It's not going to do anything but get worse for the rest of your life. And, you're going to die with this. And come to find out, that's not actually true. And she is lupus free today. It's the same thing with a chronic disease that I have, eczema, that they told me was not food related. But come to find out, when I went on a carnivore diet, it really, really, really was a game changer for eczema, which was the autoimmune condition that I had. So one other thing I wanted to mention, just, kind of inspiring to me, is that I always had this anemia. I had chronic anemia, iron deficiency anemia, and they always wanted me to be on iron pills. I couldn't even give blood. But when I went on carnivore, my anemia went away. I no longer was iron deficiency anemic. And now my blood cells are normal. I could give blood if I want to, and I don't have to eat any peanut butter. I'm not eating liver even every week or every month, but my anemia leveled out. So that was pretty awesome. So I want to talk about some practical steps to how you can get started on your carnivore journey. These are the essentials for, like, how to get started. I know that the question is, what am I going to eat? A lot of people are concerned about that, as well they should be. But we talked about the fact that the carnivore diet is super simple. And one of the very easy and simple ways to start is with what we call a BBBE, which is beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. That is the simplest thing that you can do. So you can use, ground beef, you could eat steak, you could eat roast, you could eat anything you want as long as it's beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. So you can do a lot of different things with this combination. So that is a really, really basic, easy way to start and simplify how to get started on carnivore. So it keeps things straightforward while still giving your body all the nourishment that it needs. Beef is the most nutrient dense food that is around. It's the most nutrient dense and bioavailable to your body. So everything that's in that beef that you need to have nutrition for your body is going to be available to your body when you eat beef. So stick to the staples of the carnivore diet for the first 30 days, and it just makes it very, very simple. And then, we're going to be eliminating processed foods. So when I say processed foods, what am I talking about? I'm talking about anything that comes in a box, bag, can. You're going to eliminate all of that. So if it has a long ingredient list, you're not going to be eating it. And so those, you're gonna remove the carbohydrates from your diet. Carbohydrates translates to sugars in your body. So you're gonna go ahead and just eliminate those. You're gonna eat only meat. I know it sounds crazy, right? Like, who does that? Well, you do, because it's World Carnivore Month. Let's see. So you're going to replace your sugary snacks. So if you've been eating a candy bar, or you've been eating chips, or you've been eating crackers, or whatever it is that you've been eating, you're going to replace that with something like bacon, or maybe beef jerky, a beef stick, something like that. Hard-boiled eggs. Those kinds of things are the things that you would replace it with. So the next thing is that you're going to do, maybe try to do some meal prep. Meal prep makes things easier. If you do, when you have available time and you spend some time cooking up a bunch of hamburger patties and you have those in your refrigerator, cooking up a bunch of boiled eggs, having those in the refrigerator, cooking up your bacon. And I like to put purse bacon in my purse so that whenever I go anywhere, if I'm hungry, I can eat some bacon. So, and my grandkids all know, like, does grandma have the purse bacon? They know I'm going to have some meat for them to eat. So prep those things up, and then you can buy things in bulk. Go to your Sam's Club, your Costco, Gordon Foods, and pick up a big old log of ground beef, and then portion it out into 1 pound packages, or portion it out into hamburgers, and then you'll have that, and it's a cost savings as well. So then you can also look for butcher shops, look for your deals. So there's an app, it's called Flip, Flipp. And that app will allow you to find your sales in your local area. So I have in the Flip app, I just have steak. I want to know anytime steak is on sale. I want to know when the steak is on sale because I want to buy it when it's on sale. So look for the deals. Go to the stores that have the sales that you are looking for. Okay. And then the next thing is I want to mention is that you want to make sure that you are prepared with electrolytes. So one of the things that could be challenging for you as a person going particularly from a standard American diet to a carnivore diet is electrolyte imbalance. So you might have heard of something called the keto flu or the carnivore flu. And it's completely avoidable. You do not have to have the keto flu when you go into your ketogenic state. All you need to do is make sure that your electrolytes are balanced. So there are ways that you can do that. So let me just mention like some of the symptoms that you might see with keto flu. So things like headaches, muscle cramping, you might feel sick, run down. You're just not going to feel good if your electrolytes are not in balance. And remember, we're on an anti-inflammatory diet. So through your urine, you're urinating out a bunch of inflammation, and along with that goes electrolytes. So you want to make sure that you get those electrolytes in. So what are electrolytes? Salt, potassium, and magnesium. And so there are many, like you can make these at home. You don't have to spend a bunch of money on products. A lot of us in the keto community, we talk all the time about LMNT, element. We talk about salty, but you don't have to purchase that stuff. You can just get something that's very inexpensive, and you can use that. And then there's also like a bunch of different content creators who have electrolyte drinks that you can make for yourself at home. You want to make sure that if you start to feel sick, so maybe you don't want to start out with them, you don't have to, but if you start to feel even a twinge of, oh man, I don't feel good, that's the time to balance your electrolytes. Get them balanced out. You're going to feel great. Also want to mention that you want to add some really good, high quality salt. So when you talk about the little umbrella girl, the little blue box with the umbrella girl, that salt has sugar in it. You look at the box next time you go to the store and you think you need to buy salt. Look at Umbrella Girl and look at the back of there and see, doesn't it say maltodextrin in the box? There's sugar in the salt. Now, what a trick, right? So get you some good, real quality Celtic salt or pink Himalayan salt. I use Redmond real salt, but you don't have to purchase something. You can go to the store and buy, go to the store and pick you up some pink Himalayan salt. So here's my tips for getting started. First of all, you got to make a commitment. Make your commitment to doing 31 days of carnivore, or at least finishing out World Carnivore Month, which is this month of January. Don't overthink in the beginning. Like, don't think like, oh, all these different variety things I need. Just stick to BBBE. And then be patient with your body as it adapts. It does take time to adapt. There are various things that may happen while you're going through your adaptation period. We're here to talk to at our Hey Sister Girl group. If you want to come into our Facebook group, we'll be happy to talk to you about that. Celebrate your small wins. If you make it through a day on carnivore, you need to celebrate and give yourself some kudos for making it through a day on carnivore. So I want to stop there and I want to just introduce our guest. I'm so happy that she's here with us. So we have Coach Rose, and Coach Rose is she's had some amazing results on carnivore, and so we're going to let her come in and tell her story.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here with you ladies. As I had mentioned pre-show, I am so ecstatic that some sisters are stepping it up and sharing the information, sharing your life stories, and really representing, right? Because sometimes it takes us to start something and stick with it for others to follow. So, first and foremost, thank you for having me here to be in this conversation and in your company this evening. So, I want to give a really brief overview of how I got to carnivore, and it started when I was 3.5 years old, believe it or not. As a result of childhood trauma, I resorted to food usage. I was eating Vaseline, dry dog food, raw ground beef, and whatnot. And so you fast forward through high school, I never ate real food. It was always processed food, sugar, chips, the whole nine. And so, with that being said, I left home, whatever home was, and I got married at 18 and a half. I had my daughter by the time I was 20. And with me still trying to process childhood issues, it just snowballed into I identified everything through food. And with that being said, the way that I helped myself was through bibliotherapy, meaning that I liked Oprah, I liked Phil Donahue, and I loved to read. I was a voracious reader as a child. So I made it through until I was about 28, 29. I'm 6 feet, weighed 300 pounds, and I would go from maybe 280 to 300. But I discovered exercise at 20 through my husband insisting that I go exercise because he thought that that would help me to lose weight, right? Like what happened to the 18-year-old that he married. Little did I know that I would fall in love with exercise. And that became a way of helping me cope along with food. And at about 28, 30 years old, I did a career switch. I went into corrections. And as a part of being in corrections, I had to pass a physical agility test. And at 300 pounds, I was able to make it. It was the Cooper test, I believe. I was able to make it through the physical agility test because, y'all, let me tell you, I had never made that amount of money in my young life. Okay. So I was determined, but then I started running races and exercising more and more and more as far as weightlifting and all that stuff. And I tried every diet under the sun, you guys. Every diet, you name it, I did it. And I should just go back a little bit. When I was about 12 or so, my actual dieting career journey started with X-Lax, Dexatrim, and TAP. And it started as a conversation with two of my cousins, and we just thought we should lose some weight. I don't know what happened to them, but I just went head on. And it was another addiction for me, along with the exercise at a later date and the food and whatnot. So, past the agility test, every diet under the sun, there was probably about a 10-year span when I actually lost 110 pounds, but it came at a cost. So my cost was is I decided to get further educated, become certified, a certified trainer, but this was for me to learn more about nutrition. And the nutrition that I was learning was count all your calories, over exercise, and make sure that your calories in, calories out, that kind of thing matched. But it did work, probably because I was considerably younger. And I was obsessive, you guys. This is what I want to say. I was obsessive. Everything that I ate, I wrote down. And I had always binged. I've been a binger since about 3.5, 4 years old. So this didn't calm down my binging episodes. It just kind of fueled it. Like I would go into every Saturday, you can eat everything that you want all day, every day on all Saturdays. And even when I tried to reel it back, it flowed into Sundays and into Mondays. And then, the laxative abuse, the exercise abuse just kept going, right? And how is that really different than being a drug addict or an alcoholic now that I'm able to look back and really see what was going on? And I was even on the Today Show a couple of times because back then we had to write letters and emails and stuff. So, it was great. But then somewhere around 45, 48, when my hormones started changing, thought I was going crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I refused to even consider any hormone replacement therapy or any medication of any kind because I firmly believe for myself the myths that when I was being raised that medication would literally hijack my mind. What happens in this house stays in this house. So I never sought professional help. And even to this day, I don't do medication of any kind, right? And so I'm not saying that to say that it's the right or wrong way, but you have to choose for yourself, right? And so with me spiraling out of control, slowly 45, 48, I couldn't run as well as I used to. I want to say that I've been a long distance runner since I was 30 years old, 32 years old, and I would run endless miles. And that was another way of coping besides just general exercise. So I started gaining weight. So my weight ballooned up to 238.8. And when I say ballooned, I literally mean ballooned. It was like I couldn't get off the roller coaster. I couldn't figure it out. And in June of 2018, I literally, ladies, hit my freaking rock bottom, meaning that I was 23 years into my career. We had purchased property. My daughter was whatever age she was. And I was just sitting here like, I can't run as long as I used to. There's just so many things that were going right in my life. But me being a type A personality, I needed that structure of exercise, running races, and traveling to them to bring me that balance. But God had something else in store. He literally told me that if I continued to try to get to my 30-year mark in my career, that I would not be fully restored mentally, physically, and emotionally, meaning that I would be in a mental hospital. So that shook me up enough to start preparing. And around that time, I had heard of exogenous ketones, the ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting. So we made preparations and we paid off our house that October. And I was still kind of like spiraling in contemplation. And then on December, and I stopped drinking. I want to just point this out also. I used to drink after long distance races and whatnot, a 6-pack of beer or whatnot to celebrate. But prior to that, I don't know, maybe when I was about 32, 34, somewhere up in there, I would be a weekend binge drinker as far as like wine to get me through my weekends because it was just a lot, right? It was just a lot. And so I had to cut that off pretty quick because I started recognizing, what I was doing with the addiction cycle. And then I made the conscious decision that I would always have food and I chose food. So I laid alcohol down except recreationally when we were running or celebrating something, but I stopped drinking alcohol in October of 2018. So that was the first step towards my keto and intermittent fasting. And then I committed on December 2nd, 2018 to keto and intermittent fasting. But this is the deal, guys. I was so concerned about my financial future and about what was going to go on because remember, God had told me it was time to leave this space and whatnot. And so it took me till April of 2019 to fully leave service, but I had like 3 months of leave. So I was utilizing that to kind of help me balance out. But even though I committed to this way of life, I still kept compulsively overeating and binging. And this is what I want to tell you, ladies, that sometimes as sisters or sometimes as folks that grow up in environments where it's acceptable to have the Cheetos, the Cheerios, all these vegetables, the fried chicken and everything. I think because I'm a little thicker, it's okay to look like a little snicker. You know what I'm saying? And still be chocolate and carrying our business because we got junk in our trunk and all that stuff. And I'm going to be candid with you. If you say that you love living that life, I'm going to be the first person to say, bless you, handle your business. But as a person that was living that life, I was very unhappy. I was considerably depressed. Nothing was working for me. Nothing was working for me as far as diet and mental health. But I got really good marks in school. I got really good marks in my career, right? But when you boil it down, what really matters is your day to day, your interactions with your family, how you support them, how they support you, and how you show up for yourself every day. So if you are trying to consider if trying carnivore is worth it, I'm going to say yes, because I spent 14 months being triggered, relapsing, binging on the ketogenic diet. And on January 1st, 2020, I was like, my hands are thrown up in the air. Now, I had made progress, don't get me wrong. I made progress and my mental health was better. January 1st, 2020, the first 3 months of 2020, I was like a rock star. I dropped my last 20 pounds. All the inflammation went away. And I was finally able to start running longer distances again, right? But then there was a holiday that came up, like Easter or something like that. And I said, I'm just going to take one day off to celebrate. That one day turned into a couple of days, right? Got back on carnivore. I'm like, I got this. I got this. I'm not the addict, the sugar addict, the processed food addict that I thought I was, but that kept spiraling. And I was in courses talking about food addiction, but it still didn't register, if you know what I'm saying. It still didn't register. Intellectually, I got it, but emotionally and applied to myself, I didn't get it until August of 2020. August, yeah, in August, because I had a photo shoot, right? It was scheduled, and me and my friend went to the beach and I kept eating and kept eating and kept eating, and I couldn't figure it out. And it rolled into that photo shoot. I went to the store, picked out my Pringles, picked out my food, ate all the way up until the time I had to get out of the car and start getting dressed in makeup. Then after that, I went to the grocery store and then I went and got nachos. It was just crazy. Then I finally got it. Girlfriend, you can't eat these foods. You can't do it. I finally got it. And I spent the rest of 2020 being okay. And so where I am today is I'm happy, healthy, vibrant. I'm clothed in my right mind. And yes, I have, and I'm going to be candid. Yes, I have dibbled and dabbled, sampled just to see, if I can be okay eating certain foods, processed foods, fast foods. I'm not 100% a purist. I'm a realist, right? And the first couple of times that I did that, it sent me back. I would have issues and whatnot. And I was like, oh, okay. But then I got more healing in the process. And now, 5, 6 years in, it's like, why would I even want to go there? It doesn't serve me, right? It doesn't serve me. And all the emotions that I have tied to food, the simpler, the better now. The simpler, the better. So, folks, if y'all wonder if y'all will ever get to a level where food doesn't have a hold on you, I really want to say that as a coach and somebody that has experienced this, for your brain to be clear and to get the nutrients that it needs, you must be willing to put in the work, number one. And number two, you have to feed it properly. You have to feed it properly. And whatever your feeding properly is, only you can determine that. But these foods really are drug-like substances. So that's where I'm at today, y'all.
Wow. Thank you, Rose, for sharing. That was amazing.
Yes.
So amazing. And thank you for just being real and raw, right? Because I often say when we come into this space, like we're sharing our rawness, right? We are humans, like you said, this is not about For me, I often say it's not about being perfect. It's about being progressive. It's about appreciating the actual improvements that you're seeing. For me, that's what I get addicted to, is feeling better, that my knees are no longer hurting, that my skin is no longer all over the place. And so thank you for sharing and giving us just your journey on carnivore. And it's the thing that we say here often, is that if you just give it a try, I tell people, don't believe me. This is an experiment for you, right? We're willing to try everything else. I'm watching on my Facebook page, on my feeds, that, everybody is trying vegetarian right now. And what people don't understand is, when you take meat out of your diet, and it's a badge of honor for some people. And I've been there. I was vegan and vegetarian. I tried them both until I was my sickest. And what I didn't understand is that taking those things out of my diet made me a sugar eater. Anything that is not meat based is going to metabolize in the body as sugar. All plants will metabolize in your body as sugar. And so I'm watching people that I love that are, having premier shakes because it says 30 grams of proteins on the front. And if you would just take the time to read the back, it is straight chemicals that's in that's creating what they're calling protein. There's no way for you to trace that. I'm seeing people who are eating, oatmeal, bananas, they're eating their toast, they're eating anything other than meat, as a way of saying it is the beginning of something great for them. And let me just touch on this. I am a Christian girl. I'm straight Bible. I'm straight God. I'm straight Jesus. I tell folks, he love all y'all, but I'm his favorite. My mother taught me that with a little sign I made for her. And I was like, I like this too. I'm his favorite too, mama, right? And y'all can say he y'all favorite as well. But the point is, people get enamored with the Daniel's fast. And I just want to say, it was a fast. It wasn't a way of life. Yes. This is why there was this shock that they still looked good after eating that way. And so I'm guilty as well. I made the Daniel fast be a way of life for me, because I did see some immediate improvements. I lost a little weight. I was feeling better, shining better. But now I know that it's not a way of life. This was a stance that Daniel was taking for a season, for a period of time, not for a lifetime. And so what we know, and I mentioned this earlier, if you would do your research on ex-vegans, Google it. We Google everything. Google it. If you would do your research on ex-vegans, then you will see that people have left the vegan and vegetarian and plant-based way of living because of direct chronic illness that they developed. So we must think about that. And so our goal, and this is what I say to people, because a lot of times when they hear me, oh, you just eat meat. But really what we are saying to you is remove ultra processed foods from your diet. Start there. Anything that's in a package, start pulling those things out. That is what's making you sick. Read the ingredients. I was with someone over the weekend and they were eating Doritos. And I'm like, I loved Doritos, right? I ate them regularly. They were a staple in my house until I read the ingredients in Doritos. These things are not snacks, y'all. They are killing us. And so, Coach Rose, I just appreciate you so much with sharing your story. And I just want to pause before I move into the next segment and just see, is there anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to just drop on us? I mean, I'm feeling great with the things that
I have a question for Coach Rose.
Okay. All right.
So I was going to say, before you ask me the question, let me throw this out here before I forget. One part of my story with leaving a professional career and, rolling into retirement, a lot of us are concerned about finances, but this is what I did, is that I cashed out my future earnings, my retirement. This is a very public part of my testimony. I cashed out because I needed 3 or 4 years to focus on me, to get me right, and to build a better quality of life. And had I not taken that time out, right? Because in our household, we have to bring in the money. We have to bring in the money. I'm not willing to live a poor lifestyle if I'm able to work. But this is what I want to tell you, folks, that me cashing in my future retirement or income or whatever you want to say, it was well worth it so that I could have a better quality of life today. And I know that God will take care of me in the future should financial situations arise. But I don't want women that are going through menopause, perimenopause, or that are having a midlife crisis to have to make that decision when you can offset that by really considering how you're fueling your body, your mind, and your spirit, right? So hopefully you will never come to a crisis like I had to make. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Yes,
Uh-huh.
that is so profound, because that is like that's a huge that's it's like I'm feeling a little scared over here just thinking about, having to do something like that, but knowing that God is with you. So that is just it's awesome that you did it. When the Lord speaks, you move,
Right.
So I love that. My question is, what advice do you have? So, with it being World Carnivore Month, what is the advice that you have for people who are still on the fence about even trying it?
So if a person is considering it or they're on the fence, what I would just say is jump in. Even though there's 31 days in the month, you can commit to one day, one meal at a time. You don't have to focus on the whole staircase, which is the part of my plan this year. Don't focus on the whole picture. Just say you're going to do the 31 days or the 20 days or whatever, but you're going to take it one meal, one day, one commitment at a time. And if you fall off the bandwagon, I'm going to be the first to tell you it's okay because you're going to learn something from that. It's not a failure. Just keep trying, and keep trying. Maybe you cook the meat in a way that you didn't like it or you didn't add Jalari seasoning. So I'm going to tell you, add Jalari seasoning. You'll get to not adding it when you're ready. But just jump in, quit doubting yourself. Look at three beautiful sisters that are here on the screen that have been doing this for a while. I'm not telling you what to do, but if you're considering it, you might as well go on and do it.
Thank
I
you.
love that. I love that. And so, guys, you asked maybe why did we pick January? We do want to give kudos to Sean Baker, who is the starter. You all can Google Sean. There are many doctors in this space. Carnivore is now being a way of eating that is being prescribed to patients who are suffering with debilitating diseases. And so some of the diseases that we see that have been reported as being healed. So you've heard a lot of us talk today about autoimmune conditions. That's my personal story, is that I was diagnosed with lupus. I had just lost a loved one less than 9 months earlier who had also been diagnosed with lupus and succumb, in my opinion, to the medications that they were prescribed, because every side effect that I read about in this medication, this family member had that disease or that illness. And so it's what helped me to go in a different direction. And so when you think about autoimmune conditions like rheumatoid arthritis or any arthritis, it is a disease of inflammation. Lupus, multiple sclerosis, psoriasis, fibromyalgia, all of these things fall under the category of autoimmune. And so we've been taught that autoimmune is your cells fighting against your cells. And I'm not a doctor. In no way here do we give medical advice. As a matter of fact, we don't want to talk about medicine at all. But these ailments that people are dealing with, the rheumatologist, this will help decrease it. Well, do you think maybe it's the root cause of it? And so what we try to do is get to the root cause of why we are ill. You have metabolic issues like type 2 diabetes. I mean, we're losing loved ones. Again, when I watch my social media feeds, when I look at someone's obituary, I can immediately see in their face signs of insulin resistance. And so this is not a light topic. Like, we're not making light of this. We want you all to know that this is a serious matter. We are losing loved ones who are losing limbs. People are losing limbs, and this is not a limb that you lost in a war. The war was a war with sugar. It was a war with ultra-processed foods. And all ultra-processed foods, let's be clear, are plant-based. They're not giving y'all meat in those ultra-processed foods. Even the meat that we say is processed, it is not ultra-processed. It's just processed. But all of your snacks that we're eating, from crackers to chips to Doritos to any of those things, your Coca-Cola, all of those things are rooted in some mechanism of plants. And so for us in the carnivore community, our light joke is it's plant-based because it was made in a plant. Okay? So while we are trying to make light of this, trying to help it not sting so much, we are still saying that carnivore, without the name is something that's, maybe new to some of us, but meat is not what's making you sick. A lot of times I hear people say, oh, I can't digest meat. So I pause with them and I'm like, well, talk to me a little bit about what you were having when you ate the meat. Were you just sitting down to a plate of meat and the meat made you sick? No, I had a steak, a baked potato, I had a salad. I just ate a little bit of the dessert. I had me a sweet tea. And so I just stop and say, the healthiest thing that you had was the meat. Everything else you just named for me was the problem. It wasn't the meat. Then I often hear from people that, I don't digest meat well. It gets stuck in me, right? Meat is going to get stuck, if that's the word you want to use, but really the correct word is absorbed. Your body absorbs the nutrients from meat. So it becomes a part of who you is. It feeds you. While these other things are not feeding you, they're not serving you. All right. So then I hear a lot of people talk about having high blood pressure, and they've been told to, stop eating salt, get off the pork. And again, we say that salt and pork are being blamed for what sugar does. It is the sugar. All of these things metabolize in your body as a sugar. There is no gauge in your body that's hanging out saying, oh, this the cool kind of sugar. Oh, this the bad kind of sugar. It is all sugar, honey. It's all sugar. Okay. So the digestive issues that you're facing, irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's disease, GERD, acid reflux, leaky gut, all of those things are directly linked. All of them are directly linked to having sugar. They have nothing to do with eating meat. Meat is what heals those things. So the things that I'm listing to you are things that have been reported as being healed as a result, reversed, decreased, made better, improved, however you want to call it. All of these things have been improved. So now let me turn a corner and talk about mental health, because now mental health has become very prevalent in our society. We're no longer afraid to say I need a therapist. We're no longer afraid to say I need help. However, I want us to know that those things are also tied to what you are eating. So what we know now, and the research is showing us, is that this brain fog, this lack of clarity, these mood swings, this anxiety, this depression is because your brain doesn't have the nutrients that it needs. It is nutrient deficient. Therefore, that's a manifestation of how these ultra-processed foods, these plant-based foods are operated in your body. So I'm just going to pause because I know this is a tough topic for a lot of people. We love our plants. We are committed to our plants. We are committed to what we really are committed to. If we be truthful, we are committed to wanting to be healthy. And yes. So in the mainstream, what we've been told is a way of being healthy is by eating more plants, eating less meat. And we're just here to challenge that with you tonight. We've challenged it in our own health, and we're seeing the benefits. And now we want to get the word out so that you can challenge the same thing. If you are getting up every day and you are eating a diet full of plant-based things, you are eating a diet of sugar. It is sugar-based. Everything that is plant-based is sugar-based. It comes from the ground. It's going to metabolize in your body as sugar. And so for me, I was at an event this weekend in Nashville where I met many women. My soul was blessed by and I just want to give a plug to them. It was Nashville Black Wellness. A couple there they're really working on trying to get us active, Black people active, getting us moving. And so they had this huge rally that was well attended. In our booth, we're not there selling anything at our booth. We don't have a items, some merchandise. We're not swiping cards. My husband and I literally were there just sharing information, asking people about insulin resistance. Do you know about it? Me looking at people's eyes and say, have you ever been tested for it? Do you know what your A1C? The people were in shock that I could even call out some of their diagnosis just by looking at, and it had nothing to do with their weight. Mm-hmm. This is not a weight issue. This is not an obese issue, but there are signs of insulin resistance because your body is crying out. It is trying to fight you to tell you that this thing ain't working for me. Okay. And so I just want us to give some consideration to that. And again, I'm going to pause. And when I come back, we're going to talk about the social pressures and the cravings. I just want to make sure that Robyn and Coach Rose don't have something they want to add. I know I've probably triggered some thoughts and just want to leave space for that.
So I'd like to jump in because I advocate exercise movement as much as you can, right? So the population that I work with now, women that are 50 and older, they don't want structured exercise in general. So I just tell them to consider natural daily movement, right? Natural daily movement. And to be quite candid, nutrition is going to carry you 150% further than exercise will. But the two go hand in hand as far as your mental wellness, your physical wellness. And when you look at yourself 3 years from now, your future self, do you want to be able to wipe your behind, or do you want somebody to do it for you? That's where the natural daily movement or structured exercise comes in. And for me, I exercise at the top of my day. As soon as I get out of bed, I have a home gym. I go to Hot Works. Okay, y'all, look, let me just do this with Hot Works. Hot Works is a 24-hour facility that offers like 8 different classes. I go in there and I spend for anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours. This is before I go to work. So it's a part of my wellness regimen, right? But I don't utilize exercise in order to maintain my weight. I utilize good food choices to maintain my clarity, mental health, and weight. So I just wanted to put that in there. Everybody needs to move, no matter what kind of movement you choose. It needs to be very consistent, because otherwise you use it or you lose it. And I'm not here to have someone take care of me at 90 years old when I can be doing it for myself, right? So get started walking, doing something today. Thank you.
So I just want to put a plug in for our walking challenge, which is going on right now during the month of January. We started a 14,400 steps a day walking challenge. We'll make sure that we have the link to join our walking challenge in the description box. But what I will say about that move it or lose it is, over the summer, I walked so much. I walked every day. I got up and walked in the morning sun. And then I stopped walking for like 2 months. When I started walking those 14,000 steps, I was hurting. And I had really just stopped a couple of months ago. But, move it or lose it. So definitely you want to be able to move those functional types of things that we're talking about, being able to wipe your butt. I mean, that's a functional thing. Like, you need to be able to do that. Being able to bend, reach, lift things, bend down, get back up, get down on the floor, get back up. Can you still do that?
And then also speaking of that, we need to strength train, right?
Yeah.
So your strength training could be wall push-ups, it could be anything, lifting your baby several times, jugs of water, you can do rocks, 3-pound weights, it doesn't matter, right? I pretend I'm on a runway every time I lift weights a couple of times a week, okay? So do what you need to do, but lift something. Build that. Build.
Absolutely. So movement is medicine. Thank you for reminding us of movement is medicine. And I also like the way you gave the option for it to be a simple thing, right? It is just activity. And we say that often on the show is that it is activity. It is a way for you to teach your body that it is a mover, or you can teach it as a sitter. So getting up in moving, one of the ladies in our group, Terry, we were literally working on how to break down these 14,400. Shout out to Terry, and she's here tonight. I see her. So we were literally trying to figure out, like, how do we break this down so that we get it in? How do you do some in the morning? How do you just take a walk around your block? How do you take a walk in your kitchen just to remind your body that it's a mover? And while moving, lift some heavy things. I get this from Dr. Ken Berry. Lift heavy things. We want to be moving and getting heavy things lifted. And so as we get ready to close, a couple of things that I want to just make sure, because I feel like we got some people here that are intrigued, at least intrigued about wanting to try it. So ladies that are here, if you're interested in joining our free community on Facebook, you can find us at just what our name says, Hey Sister Girl. It's a Facebook group. We will put you in the group and we share things in the group relative to being carnivore. It's encouraging. And as Carnivore Month goes on, we're going to continue to add more to that. But here's some things that I want you to think about. Are there social pressures that are associated with going carnivore? So when I initially started my journey of carnivore, now mind you, I started with low carb, did a little keto, started taking processed foods out. I started removing vegetables that I thought were problematic until the point that I realized that all vegetables for me are problematic. So I don't eat vegetables and I don't eat fruit because they were problematic for me. So yes, so primarily for my professional job, I travel significantly. I'm out, which means I'm eating in and out of restaurants. Connected to people who are with me while we're eating. And so I used to be really afraid and nervous because I didn't want the attention on me. I would go to a steak restaurant, have a nice steak, a side of shrimp, but I would still order the baked potato and I would order the wedge salad, right? I would tell myself, okay, it won't look strange if I don't eat the bread because most people are trying to get over bread. But not to eat the potato in the salad would draw attention to me. And so I would eat some, I would nibble on it, I would have some. But what was happening to me each time I would leave that restaurant, I would feel the pain immediately. So it's like a gas tank, is what I say. When you clear up your gas tank with the sugar that somebody put in it, once you add those things back in your diet, your body is going to tell you. So essentially, you're going from insulin resistance when you take all of those processed foods out to insulin sensitivity. So my body is now so insulin sensitive. When I add anything in it, I can immediately tell because my body speaks to me. Okay. So those social pressures can be really hard. Like, where's your salad? And why are you not eating a potato? You need your vegetables. Like, I'm even telling parents now, like, stop telling your kids to eat all their vegetables. I mean, you can see the Facebook videos where they put a piece of broccoli in front of a kid and the kid is like, right? Because vegetables were never meant. As a matter of fact, some of the vegetables that we have now didn't even exist 100 years ago. Let's just say that first of all. The stuff that we're eating that we call vegetables, that we call plant-based, these things did not exist, right? But with that being said, plants are a bulking agent. I say this often on the show. You are not going to be able to poop them all out. So guess what? They store on your body. What is stored on your body, if you have weight to release, is in fact something plant-based, something ultra-processed that did not metabolize. And remember, plants never die. They live forever. So they live in you forever. They recreate inside of you. And that is why you have inflammation in a simple kind of way, right? So when you move to this kind of lifestyle and you start to think about making the change, one of the main things I hear is people struggle with cravings. Me too. I told my story last week and I am a sugar addict. What I found that works for me is two things. One is if I get satiated. Satiated means getting full on the right thing. You can fill up on something, but if it's not the right thing, you're going to be ravenous. If your body did not get the nutrients that it needs, then your body is going to still be ravenous and you're going to keep filling up, right? When you eat meat, there is a point of satiety where you are good. You're not thinking about food anymore. You're not wanting food anymore. Robyn mentioned this earlier. If you are craving, if you are a snacker, we have coined purse bacon. When I cook bacon, I cook it in the oven. I cook a whole pan of bacon. I have a nice burn on my arm for proof of how much I love bacon because I dropped grease on it before. So you can cook your bacon up, make it crispy, put it in a Ziploc bag and drop it in your purse. So rather than going to the snack machine, eat your bacon. Yes, we're giving you a green light to eat bacon. The other thing that really, really, really works for me is eating more beef. If I feel like I'm craving, if I feel like I'm hungry, if a steak or a good burger patty doesn't sound good to me, then I know I'm in an emotional state rather than really hungry. That becomes an emotional state. That takes me back to the mindset of, oh, I just like the way sugar tastes. I just miss cupcakes. I'm having an emotional breakdown. But if I be truthful and real with myself, if I can't get satisfied on a steak or I can't get satisfied on ground beef or something from the animal kingdom, then I know that I'm dealing with something else. So those are just some tips as you get started on your journey. And we're saying, give it 7 days. I've asked several people to just do 7 days. I've yet to have anybody come back to me and say, oh my God, I hate this. I don't know what you have me doing. They love it. Now, I've had 1 or 2 people that can't switch the mindset. They just cannot comprehend, or they have an issue with cholesterol, and this way of eating makes them afraid to try just eating meat. And we're not even saying that. This is the main thing that we're saying. Don't shop in the middle aisles of the store. So Coach Rose talked about that. Like if it's got long ingredients on it, if it is in a package, we're all saying the same thing. Start there. Start taking it out, and then you'll start to see what your choices that are left, right? So we know root vegetables, what we call nightshade vegetables, like potatoes that are grown under the ground, cause the most inflammation. So if you're a person that says, hey, I will try if I can still have my salad, I can still have my broccoli, if I can have my berries, I'll try this way of eating, then we say kudos to you. Get started. We all started somewhere. So this is not an overnight sensation, drop everything and roll. We're not saying that. But we are saying that if you eliminate some of these things or you don't overdo them, this is the last thing for me. If you don't take a stance on not eating meat, that's the one thing that we also want to say is like, keep meat in, right? Your salad should not be bigger than your protein. So we go to these restaurants who they give us this whole big bowl of salad and this little piece of meat. And sometimes it's not even real meat. It's some processed stuff, right? So you never hear about steak salads in most restaurants. It's going to be chicken that they matted together and made it out to look like a chicken breast. They chop it up and put it on this little piece of salad. You actually are mostly eating the same thing, right? It is all going to metabolize as sugar. As I talk often about Chick-fil-A, there's no food there. I've been getting in trouble for that, but I'm just saying it's 55 ingredients to make a sandwich. It's unnecessary. And remember, a bun on a sandwich is simply a utensil to be used. And so our goal tonight is to invite you to World Carnivore for the month of January, get you excited about this new possibility of healing the illnesses that you've been struggling with and giving something a try that does not require you to be on multiple medications for every little thing. What we're finding, we started into carnivore for one thing, but it has grown into more things that have been healed. And we all have before stories. You can find Coach Rose, check her out. You can find at Carnivorous Grandma. Look for me. We don't have a problem with sharing our stories. I'm turning it back to Robyn.
All right, you guys. Well, we hope that you will join us for World Carnivore Month. It's a great opportunity for you to join a community of support. There are millions of people who are going to be trying this with you. And of course, come and join us on our Facebook group, Hey Sister Girl. And we want to also thank our special guest panelist, Coach Rose. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight, Coach Rose. And look forward to next week's episode. Next week, we're going to be answering all of your burning questions about World Carnivore Month. So we're continuing on with this theme. We want to encourage you to join us. Come on back next week, same time.
I just want to add one thing, Robyn, is if any of you have questions on any of our channels before next week, so that we can come prepared and ready, because we know that you all are burning tonight, right? So if you have questions now that you want to shoot over to us and get us working on those questions, you're looking for some research. I'm the researcher. If you're looking for some research to support some of the things that we shared tonight, hit us on our social medias. Mine is Facebook. I'm DeNitra Davis. You can find me on YouTube at Advocator, Coach, and Educator. Look for Coach Rose, look for Robyn, and then hit us in the group. I see messages coming through for the group. So we've touched some people tonight. I'm sorry,
All
Robyn.
right, you guys. We'll see y'all next week. Bye, everybody.